What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Riff Ram Review right here on 88.7 The Choice, your choice for college radio. I'm Ian Napishan, joined alongside Zion Trammell and Seth Dowdle. We just got finished talking a little bit about TCU football, putting on as nice of a bow as we possibly could, maybe, on what was definitely a disappointing season, but we're switching gears over to men's and women's basketball. They have been, especially women's basketball, has really surprised the nation. They've surprised a lot of people here on campus. They've surprised me for sure. They've gotten off to a great start to the season, 7-0 for the second time in program history. Mark Campbell was just named Coach of the Week, and Sedona Prince was also named Big 12 Player of the Week. 7-0. It's right now so far so good for TCU women's basketball.
Yeah, Sedona Prince was not lying when she came on to our show and said how excited she is about this team and that this team, they saw what people thought of this group and that they were going to finish towards the bottom of the Big 12, and they are laughing at it. And, wow, I mean, this is an incredible start. Look, there's been nothing to be excited about over the last couple seasons with TCU women's basketball. Seth, you may know this. I don't know when the last time we had a really good, I mean, a positive season even.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while. So to see this team, they picked up probably their best win of the season against Nebraska, 88-81.
That was the closest game.
Closest game
Yeah.
in like some, rinky-dink barn on an iPhone.
Yeah. So we go on their Twitter and we're watching the highlights, and I'm like, oh, this broadcast is odd. They're posting the highlights, but the camera angle is like slanted, and obviously it's not the whoever's running the social media. That's not that's just all that they had.
It was on. Yeah. So if you go to the GoFrogs.com, you go to the schedule. It has the TV and the radio. Well, it has the radio, 88.7 KTCU FM. You can listen to TCU women's basketball right here. Shameless plug. But the TV was Be the Beast.
Be the Beast. It was such a basic score bug as well,
Yeah.
It just said Nebraska this, TCU, here's the points.
That's all you need. That's all you need.
No, it was just shocking. But hey, most important thing was that the team got the win.
The victory.
And they're 7-0. A couple nice little nuggets that I found out about this team. So through 7 games into the 7 games into the season, compared to last year's first 7 games, TCU is averaging 78.7 points per game compared to 60 last year. So they're up 18 points per game through their first 7.
Notable.
Average score margin this year is 23.1 points. TCU women's basketball is shooting 46% from the field and just over 38% from beyond 3-point range. They're 9th in the nation in 3-pointers made, and they're 9th in the nation in turnovers per game. So 11.6. They're keeping control of the basketball. So really some good basketball being played here by Mark Campbell's team. And again, it's a complete turnaround from last year, and Mark Campbell hasn't wasted any time in really, stamping his mark on this team.
I think the most notable stat, though, TCU won 8 games last year, and they've won 7 already. Now, no betting men here, but if we were to put some money on them for surpassing that win total from last year, I think we'd become very rich men.
Yep.
They're going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. And they could do it as soon as December 5th when they play Abilene Christian.
Yeah.
Because they got Tulsa on December 1st. That's this Friday. And then Abilene Christian on Tuesday. Honestly, they could be undefeated going into Big 12 play. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, they could. They have 6 more games until conference play, which starts against BYU. And, yeah, it's very possible. And I think they got over the most difficult hump by beating Nebraska, especially.
Could be a tournament team there.
Yep.
Yeah, Agnes Semenopu, 26 points, shot 9 of 13, knocked down 6 threes. Sedona Prince continues her monster year, 23 points, 11 rebounds. Really kind of the anchor of this team, and they didn't have to rely on Madison Connor too much. I think she had 13 points, so a pretty decent performance from her. But I've kind of mentioned this last time we talked about TCU women's basketball, and it's for me, it's very much the starting lineup, and that's kind of it. I mean, you look, Jaden Owens played the entire game. And then the rest of the starters range from 37 to 39 minutes. They did get Aaliyah Robertson to come off the bench, and she had 15 points. So that was very productive for her coming off the bench, and that's kind of what this team needs maybe. Because once you get to, later on in the season, you get into January, February, playing all these conference games, it's going to be a lot of wear and tear. And, I'm fully confident that they could do this, but it seems to me that Mark Campbell is we got 5 or 6 of girls here that can hoop, and we kind of just have to hope that they can. Yeah,
it's kind of similar to that's what happens though when you flip a roster with the transfer portal, is that the surface level players, and I mean that just by the people that see the field or the court a lot, is they're very strong, and then the depth though you kind of lose some of that depth because it's hard through the portal to replace depth because people that are transferring usually want to go somewhere where they're going to start. Yep. And that makes perfect sense. I understand it. Similar, I'm not comparing this team to the Colorado football team, but that's what Colorado's problem was, right?
Yes.
Is that you have the big names, the Travis Hunters, the Shadur Sanders, the whatnot, but the depth, that was what the problem was for Colorado. And that could be a problem, as you said, for this team. Right now, though, they're riding high, and that's what we need to talk about. Is that this team is great so far, and that they're putting TCU women's basketball right back on the map here in Fort Worth, and making it meaningful and giving people reasons to come to games. And for that, I applaud them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm not saying that it's not going to work. I think it can't. I mean, they're so top heavy. This starting lineup is so talented that they can go toe-to-toe with most teams probably in the Big 12 and feel like they have a decent shot. They're currently tied for second with Texas Tech in the Big 12. Texas is 8-0. The other undefeateds are UCF, West Virginia, Baylor, and Houston. Pretty funny. Kansas obviously is one of the best teams in the country for men's basketball. For women's basketball, they're 2-3.
Yeah.
So can't have them both. We can here in Fort Worth, though. We can have good both.
We certainly can.
Yeah, we can have both.
Yeah, so far the men's basketball team is doing great. 6-0 so far through their first 6 games of the season. Their ease of schedule does rank last in the nation at 362. But I think what's most important, and you guys can, chime in here too, is the team is winning these games convincingly, and whereas last season the ease of schedule was very similar, but the team wasn't really coming together as fluidly. This year it's looking good.
Yeah, they did lose them.
Yeah, this is a good sign. That's such a funny stat, and I don't care about it because this schedule is going to get harder.
It is
because the Big 12 is a beast of a basketball conference. But it's just funny when you 362 out of 362. Yeah. That's hilarious. They've played 3 teams that are combined. I'm going to try and do this math off the top of my head. I believe they've played 3 teams that have a combined record of 1-21.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they beat up Alcorn State, which is one letter removed from beating up on some squirrels. So, yeah.
By the way, I do want to talk about this. This is a side rant, but when we're talking about the schedule, this was hilarious, and I just need to mention it, if that's okay with y'all.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what you're going to mention,
but
I know.
Fine. Okay. So, Mississippi Valley State was one of the teams that TCU played this in the non-conference, correct? Y'all seen that?
Yep.
So they're 0-7 right now. Alrighty. 0-7, and they've played all of their games on the road. Every single one of them.
Mississippi Valley State.
Mississippi Valley State. 0-7, they played every single one of their games on the road. They have 7 more non-conference games. All of them will be on the road.
Oh my gosh. So those guys are not getting an education, is what I'm hearing. That they're just hoping.
How do you even do that?
Do y'all think that they can win any of these games? I'm about to tell you the schedule. Here we go: North Texas, Liberty, Gonzaga, Tulsa, Baylor, and San Francisco.
Oh my God!
Wow. Okay, I hear Baylor and Gonzaga. That's brutal.
Tough.
Their next home game won't be till January 6th. Actually, that'll be their first home game. They haven't played one yet.
That's horrible. I mean,
wow.
I don't know where Mississippi Valley State is, but
Well, hey, just
in Mississippi.
Just gonna say, I did get a text literally just now from one of our listeners, Mr. Jeffrey Craig. He said that they could win their conference though, which is pretty insane.
Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So Jeff, if you are listening, we just wanted to give you a little shout out there.
What conference are they
The
in?
SWAC.
Oh, well, okay, yeah. I mean, I don't know. They might. I don't know. Is USF University of San Francisco the Dons?
Yeah, the Dons.
I don't know how good they are.
They made the tournament a couple years ago.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, so I'm gonna say no. They're not gonna win.
That should be really tough for them.
Yeah. Baylor. They're gonna lose by 100 to Baylor. Gonzaga will give them. We'll give them a 90 to like 30 probably. Something like that.
Yeah. Well, for TCU basketball, I think their biggest test is going to be coming up when they play Clemson and Arizona State during the Hall of Fame series in Toronto. That's probably going to be their biggest their biggest challenge to really start the season. They do play Georgetown on December 2nd as well in the Big East Big 12 battle. So those 3 games should be a little closer and a little more competitive, definitely more testing of the team. But again, kind of talking about the Big 12, there are 5 teams right now in the AP Top 25 that are in the Big 12. Kansas is number 5. Number 6 is Houston. Baylor at number 9. Texas at 16. And Oklahoma rounding it out at number 25. So this TCU team is going to hit a wall and really going to have to hunker down once Big 12 conference play starts. And Kansas is their first matchup. That's at Kansas on January 6th. So,
Yikes.
I mean, again, it's a good start to the season. Let's continue it. But this Big 12 season is not going to be a joke.
Yeah, and they don't play a home game in December. They play at Dickies Arena on December 16th, but that's technically not a home game.
Yeah, that don't count. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I like the turnaround of the roster is good. They shoot the 3 a lot better, which is encouraging. But encouraging that they're beating these teams that they should be beating by a lot, and that's pretty much, I think, the main point so far of the TCU men's basketball season. And the sub point, obviously, is that the men's and women's teams are both doing great so far, and that's good for the school after a lackluster football season.
It is. It's exactly what we need as a show. We need to talk about some more positive things. It's exactly what the TCU fan base and student body needs. They need some more sports to look forward to. Basketball, I mean, so far, combined 13-0. Can't ask for a better start between the men's and women's programs, and hoping that can definitely continue into the winter and into Big 12 conference play. So really looking forward to it. But up next, we've got some college football to talk about with all of the conferences wrapping up. There are some conference championships that we do want to preview, as well as some CFP rankings that we have to talk about. That will be coming up in the next segment here on Riff Ram Review. Stick here on 88.7 The Choice, your choice for college radio.